So this is from The Masked Man. Some of you know who I'm talking about. I have done some of his videos before on my last channel, but I have moved it to this new channel, the Artextric React channel. So most of the old anime stuff I've done will be moved over there. I'll have to re-upload some of them over here for the reactions channel. It won't be not on the art channel anymore. I will still do art stuff on the side, but if it's more focused on reactions, it'll go over there. Yeah, so pretty much this is my chat forced me to read good manga from The Masked Man, whatever that is. This was 3 weeks ago, so it's pretty recent, pretty new. I have not done any manga recommendations in a long time, so I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of content I need to catch up on. And what's great about this is I don't have to be up to date with the latest news or latest manga stuff, because recommendations can always be recommended to anyone of any age, economic situation. It doesn't matter where you're from or what situation. I can still recommend you Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball has been around since the 80s, or Saint Seiya, or Gundam, or anything like that. So that's what makes these videos timeless, because it doesn't matter how new the manga is. If it's good, you can always recommend it no matter what. So, it is what it is.
Right here, my chat hit me with some of the best manga I've read in a while. Others kept me up at night. The universe will deal with you specifically. These were the manga that were recommended, most of them being via donation, so thank you to all of those who've been joining the live streams and showing your support. They will be on Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube for the time being, so feel free to stop by. And here are 7 manga my chat forced me to read. If you're looking for a new ongoing series that is actually worth your time, Dragon and Chameleon is my first suggestion. In this story, Gario's the creator.
This is the one with it's the manga with the
Mike has said, you know the story about how the team working on Pocahontas was like, yeah, we're working on a Disney princess movie while you guys work on a kids movie with talking animals. The other team was Lion King.
Oh god. But like this is the manga, and I remember we did a video on this. It's the manga based on, like, it's a famous mangaka. He's the main character is a famous mangaka, right? And he's really good at what he does. And he has an assistant, and somehow him and his assistant switch bodies. And his assistant was an asshole and will not give his body back, so he had to start from scratch, with his skills to start a whole new manga, while his assistant, I guess, prolongs his manga to the way he wants it or some shit. But it's pretty awesome. So that's what I've heard. So
Creator of Dragonland, the most successful manga in the world. One thing is very apparent about him. He's an absolute manga addict, someone possessed by the love of what they do, and serves as a likable and inspiring main character. His assistant, Miyama, is massively talented as well, but his talent is copying the style of others perfectly, hence his nickname, the Chameleon. Unlike Gario, it's clear from the jump that Miyama's full of negative sentiments, and he believes he was never meant to have the success he craves. An accident happens and the two end up swapping bodies. Gario is now determined to prove to Miyama that he is wrong about himself, and that he will make a new series that will rise to the top and soar like a dragon. Hence the name of the manga, Dragon and Chameleon. It's a manga about making manga, but it not only delves into some of the technical things that make a page stand out, or the process of working with assistants, but what makes this manga so special and one I'm dying to get more of is how it delves into the mind of someone who truly loves their craft and is passionate about it, someone dedicated to one thing for their entire life. The different approaches everyone has, and no matter who you are, there is only one thing holding you back, and that's yourself. If you think you're needing a bit of motivation or inspiration, this is one of the best things you can read. Seriously, just the artwork alone speaks for itself. Okay, now that we're not in the first 30 seconds of the video, the OG title was going to be Taking Manga Rex Like a Whore, but YouTube has to be a boring platform. From inspirational to wholesome and very, very happy, this manga is for anyone who needs some uplifting and warm feelings. Banana Fish is a manga about two friends, Ash and AG, I think that's how it's pronounced, who get close. Very close. Now, I don't think some in the back are understanding me. Very close. Ash is a delinquent, criminal, thug, poor soul who's grown up in a life of pain and misery. And AG...
Yeah, I think it works. It kind of teeters on that LGBT thing. So if this is something you're into, pick up this book.
He's an ex-athlete from Japan who's visiting the US of A. They end up involved in this big thing where they need to find out what is banana fish.
Calendar is up now.
The whole mystery, although pretty early on you find out what it's all about. It's a pure thriller from start to end, and you never really feel like you have time to catch a breath. The moments you do are where some of the best character moments happen, and I think anyone who reads this will appreciate the plot and the pacing. This is completed and is full of action, violence, and some really mature topics, but surprisingly enough has one of the happiest, heartwarming endings ever. So happy, in fact, that I cried tears of joy. So fucking happy.
Okay, so the next one I want to show you is called Highlight. Absolutely
I'm so tired of these stupid commercials.
contextual.
Happy that I walked outside at 4 in the morning and thought about whether or not I was making the right choices in life. In all seriousness, I think a great sign of mystery turned thriller manga is when it becomes impossible to put down. Destroying my sleep schedule was totally worth it. Sakamoto Days has been gaining a lot of steam over the last year, and so it would only make sense that something like this would be made. I want you to imagine John Wick, but he gives up his life of being a hitman, not over his woman and love of his life, but for a J-pop idol. Koroshiya no Oshi is ongoing, and it's a blend of insane action and comedy. I wish I had more to say about this manga, but outside of the description I gave, that's pretty much it. I don't think the action is as good as Sakamoto Days, although to be fair, that is a high bar. If you want something simple and fun, then here you go. I was worried that people were going to recommend a whole lot of ass, but if this is the worst one that will be in the video, y'all did a good job. A manga that I was very happy to see recommended was Red Living on the Edge. This is a revenge story, and not a shit one. There's going to be a video dedicated to the worst one I've read coming out soon, don't worry, but this follows Red, the last survivor of the Wisa tribe who seeks revenge on a group of soldiers that massacred his people. The premise is simple, and my concern at first was if the more unique setting for manga would be the only unique thing about it, but the exploration into the characters complemented by this simple but well done color motif with the names has been some of my favorite character writing ever. The story at no point ever feels stale, and it explores the true cost of pursuing a life of vengeance in all of its nuances, while covering the mature topics that would be expected when talking about the massacring of the natives. The antagonist of the story gives me chills, and is a slippery character to say the least. This manga punches hard in the feels, has amazing action and scenarios, where even though we may not agree with the actions of the main character or other characters at certain points, they all make sense, as well as showing people who try to live a life of repentance for sins that they will have to atone for the rest of their life. Romance, tragedy, violence. My favorite. If you like anything like Blade of the Immortal, Vinland Saga, Berserk, or really any other story that delves into revenge well, I don't think you'll find many that do it better than this one. In terms of the basic premise, it is doing something super unique, not entirely. But not every manga is trying to do something different, some are trying to do something well, and this is a perfect example of such. I had seen a video done on this, and I didn't watch since I didn't read it myself, and I eventually wanted to do a video, but after reading the series, I then watched the video, and I don't think I could make something better than that one. The link to that video will be in the description below. He also has some really good stuff. Do you like speed, racing, cars? Not really? Well, too bad. Initial D is over 700 chapters, but it honestly feels like half of that.
I have never read the Initial D series. I never have. Is it good? Is it worth a read? Is it worth the anime? Is the anime a thing? Yeah, anime's a thing. Is it worth watching? Like, I have a bias. I watch, like, old anime like that. Like, like, there's a few anime I'll watch old, but, like, the majority of the time, I will not watch them if they're old. I know that's just my monkey brain being biased towards the material, but it should be the story, not really the artwork at that point. Because at the time, those artworks was the best thing that was there at the time. So I can't even... It's just like, I don't know.
Mono said, I'm not a car guy, but I love Initial D.
Okay, I guess so. I guess that makes sense. But,
Which makes sense for a racing manga. I will say it's super fun, and I never thought a series about cars would get me interested personally, but it's cool seeing the growth of the main character Tak. If I had to give a heads up, I do feel like being at chapter 300 doesn't feel all that different from what's happening around the 50 chapter mark. It has one formula, and you can start to feel that when the story isn't being broken up by the drama of the romances that take place, which are well done for the most part, and not what I was expecting at all when reading it. I will say it does its Formula 1 well. I'm sorry, you can unsubscribe. No, I get it. I have no issue with that, again, as I had a blast reading it, but if you are expecting the character exploration that you see in Hajime no Ippo with its cast, then you might be disappointed. Fun fact, the author of Ippo was the assistant for Initial D, which I had no clue.
It's not all about the cars. It also has romance and good story, but a bit of plot armor.
okay.
until I was on call with a family member discussing my sentiments about this
Ryu the
manga.
Samurai
The
said
recommendation
deja vu.
Deja vu.
was to check out the anime, so I might have to do that and see if I like it more that way. It had good moments of comedy and the rush you feel is magical damn near, but in the first half it does feel like you were seeing the same turns, the same guardrails, the same beginning and end outcome to each race over and over and over again. Which could honestly be a critique of sports manga in general, is how repetitive they can feel when you don't feel like the characters are being delved into enough. However, seeing Tak grow from apathetic to in love with racing and letting out his competitive spirit was dope, and something I'm sure some of you will resonate with. The next manga is titled Ice Blade, although it has another title in Japanese that will be up on the screen, and I believe it has a sequel that I didn't check out. Ice Blade is a detective manga where the main character is this very clearly emotionally detached individual, and his methods of getting things done can be seen as insensitive or heartless. At first, the story starts off as episodic with each case that you go through, so you sort of feel like the narrative isn't really going too far with anything. It's like, okay, we explored this, dropped it, explored this, dropped it. But after that 10 chapter mark, it continues on to have a consistent narrative. And it's really nice seeing the actions of the main character and the nuances of how justice is handled and the way that it all goes about it. Overall, it is a bit of a heavy read, and each chapter is quite a bit to go through, so I wouldn't really recommend binge reading this manga, but I do think that if you like detective stories, murder mysteries, thrillers, this is an excellent read to have. I would like to say this now, those of you who recommended series for this video that made it in, y'all did an excellent job with your picks. And I also noticed a lot, I get a lot of comments, or people will come into the live stream and ask me to read something that not only I've read, but I've done videos on. So once again, that's no problem. But for the next part, if this ends up, doing well and I do a part 2, I would like to include the usernames of the people who recommended the series, because I feel like you deserve that kind of shout out, at least for your support. So thank you once again to everyone who's shown support, not only in the live streams, but in the videos in general. Alright, on to the final recommendation. I feel like I need a cigarette after reading this one. Eden It's an Endless World is a brutal, violent manga in every way. It feels like it has the essence of Blade of the Immortal, Black Lagoon, and a sprinkle of Akira all blended together. A virus kills a whole lot of people, and humans have been using cybernetic enhancements. We follow a couple characters in the story, but the main one is Elijah Ballard. His father, Enoi, I think that's how it's pronounced, I'm shit with names apparently, being a very important person. He gets caught up in a lot of bullshit, as an evil organization is working behind the scenes to gain control, and the virus seems to be evolving as well. This has some great characters, but a heads up, once again, it is very violent and explicit in many ways, and does not spare the reader one bit. As the story unfolds, it asks the question a good amount about God, and if he is real, and if he is, whether he is fair. Tying that in with our existence and how the characters make sense of the ugly mess that they live in. At first I was concerned it was going to be very generic with its approach, but as you meet more characters it provides different views to that question, and everything else that comes with it. This is one of those stories that, due to the themes that it deals with, amidst all of the violence and even politics, it will not only stay with you, but you might take away something different or view the message of the story with a different perspective a few years down the line, since it goes over some very existential questions we all sit down and go over from time to time. I think it's safe to say that this has been one of, if not the best manga I read this year, and just one of the best manga I've read, period. Some of these series I'm sure I'm going to revisit, others I'm going to revisit with a lot of hesitation and with my emotional guard up, and others I'm really excited to see how they continue onwards. If you want to get your recommendation out and get it included in a video, because it'd be really cool to make this a series, make sure you stop by the live streams and show your support. And
Pretty cool, I like this. This was a good video.
thank you once again for an
I like
amazing
the
year so far with
presentation.
the channel.
I think this was a great video. He's pretty much ending the video, but this was a great presentation. I like how he did it. I think he upgraded his shits, but this is great.
I know the uploads have slowed down a lot, but I've really been wanting to evolve and push out my absolute best. Thank you once again for watching. This has been Matt.
Yeah. So with that said, like, subscribe, share, follow, and comment. Who guys like this from the Masked Man? I also put their credentials in the Discord. In the descriptions. I have Discord on mine. Descriptions at the bottom. And all that great stuff. So, if you guys enjoyed this was awesome. I always try to give them a bit of a shout out, because it's great to give creators a sense of recognition, and it builds bridges between creators and stuff. So if you want to check them out, link in the description. I'll either tag their YouTube channel and the video.
Beanbag said thank you for giving me your emote. Each check out the calendar.
All right, I'll check in a second. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, so with that said, I'll see you guys in the next one, and thank you.